Recently, I had a chance to visit the Ark Encounter theme park with my friend and colleague Krista Robbins. She flew down from Chicago. I came over from Oregon to Kentucky to witness this spectacle. Both Krista and I are science advocates. We're highly involved in public education, and so there were certain parts of the Ark Encounter that rubbed us the wrong way, as you might imagine. But it was a fascinating experience. We even got to go behind the scenes and meet some of the people involved in the Ark Encounter. This is me with Nathaniel Jeanson. He's actually a trained PhD biologist. In this, the first of several videos on the Ark Encounter that I'll be doing, I'm going to share with you my initial thoughts and a few of the things that I saw, dear viewer. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. My name is John Perry. I am a science educator. I actually create materials for teachers to use in their classrooms. I do animations, and I also write articles and do other things. My focus is on genetics and evolution. And so for a long time, I've been wanting to go to the Ark Encounter because I've heard that they are teaching some things about genetics and evolution that aren't quite up to par with the scientific standards. So I figured I'd go down there, check it out, and report back to you, the good people of the internet. Quick note before I begin and show you what I saw. This issue is actually fairly controversial, and people, I've noticed, I just did a video a few weeks ago on creationism. There's been a lot of angry comments and people arguing and fighting. Please keep things civil in the comments section. If somebody insults you, just ignore it. Just ignore the insult and respond to the actual question or the actual point that they were trying to make. If you treat an angry person with respect, they will almost always mirror your respect. And you can actually take what starts out as an angry fight and turn it into a fruitful conversation, even on YouTube, even in the comment section. I promise you. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the Ark Encounter and see what it is that there is to see. Touring the Ark was fascinating. The project was spearheaded by an evangelical preacher named Ken Ham, who has described the project as a Christian-themed amusement park. Now, in my opinion, the park actually serves 4 distinct purposes, 3 of which, I suppose I'm okay with. The first one is that the Ark Encounter acts to bring to life the biblical story of Noah's Ark. Or, I guess, more specifically, it brings to life Ken Ham's version of the Bible's story of Noah's Ark. Spoiler alert, Ken Ham's version of the story has lots and lots and lots of dinosaurs in it. Also, the kin of dinosaurs, things like Dimetrodon and, pterosaurs. He has a very fascinating interpretation of the Bible, to say the least. The art on display at the Ark was absolutely stunning. Beautiful sculptures of different animals, different dinosaur reconstructions. I saw some people online complaining that there wasn't enough stuff to see in the Ark. I can kind of get that. It's $40 to get in, but the paintings were beautiful. The sculptures were beautiful. As an artist, my favorite part of the Ark Encounter was this display that was in a section about the sinful world before the flood. There's this giant, he's like 2 times the size of everybody else, and he's stabbing this lady with a spear. It's pretty brutal. But then they were fighting a dinosaur. Now, I didn't see any labels explaining what species of dinosaur this was, but it looks to me like a Carnotaurus. The horns on the head and the flat muzzle give it away. Carnotaurus was a really, really amazing dinosaur. Unfortunately, we only know of it from one really good specimen found in Cretaceous rocks in Argentina, and they had these beautiful horns on their heads. You can see the bones here. We assume that there was actually probably a lot of keratin structure on top of these bones. We don't know how long the actual horns would have been in life, but this would have been an absolutely spectacular creature to see in person. Sadly, the fossil record strongly suggests that Carnotaurus did not survive the mass extinction that killed off most of the dinosaurs. According to modern dating methods, that extinction occurred roughly 66 million years ago. This means that scenarios like the one depicted here, well, they wouldn't have actually been able to happen. But I love it. I just love it. It's so imaginative. You've got people fighting these blinged out dinosaurs, gladiator style. So that's the first thing that the Ark Encounter does. It brings to life Ken Ham's version of the Bible story of Noah's Ark. And it does a good job at that. It really does. The second main purpose for the Ark Encounter is to act as a place of worship. Ken Ham's version of Christianity, the things that he teaches at the Ark Encounter and then in his other museum, he has a museum called the Creation Museum. His version of Christianity is extremely unique, particularly his interpretation of Genesis. I mean, it's dinosaurs everywhere. There's dinosaurs in the Garden of Eden. There's T-Rex on Noah's Ark. I feel like Ken Ham's interpretation of Christianity is so unique that it almost needs its own name, Hammonism after Ken Ham. Just a little bit of trivia about myself. I was actually raised in the Mormon church. I no longer participate, but when I was active in the church, people would ask me a lot of times, what is Mormonism? And I would respond, well, do you want the long, serious answer or do you want the short, lighthearted answer? My kind of short answer was, Mormonism is Christianity meets cowboys and Indians. If I were to give a lighthearted description of Hammonism, it would be, Hammonism is Christianity meets Jurassic Park. At the Ark Encounter, the thing that summarized what I'm calling Hammonism better than probably anything else was a little plaque that reads, "Did you know that up to 85 kinds of dinosaurs were on the Ark, including 2 tyrannosaurids, 2 stegosaurids, 2 ceratopsids, and 2 brachiosaurids?" So, yeah, I love that. That is a classic example of Hammonism, in case you needed one. I'm an American. I care a lot about freedom of speech. I care a lot about the right to assemble. I care a lot about separation of church and state. I care a lot about freedom of religion. So I'm okay with the first 2 purposes of the Ark Encounter, just so long as it's not funded by taxes or the government and not promoted by the public school system. The third purpose of the Ark Encounter, by my account, is to preach Hammonism. All throughout the Ark, there were all kinds of displays that were designed to convert skeptics, whether they be outside of Christianity altogether, non-religious folks, or whether they be Christians that are not also Hammonites. Ken Ham is trying to convert people to his way of thinking about Genesis. Let me be clear, he's not trying to take people from their religions and make them get baptized into his own special religion. Instead, he's trying to get people from various Christian backgrounds to accept the special new non-biblical doctrines that he's produced. His unique additions to the book of Genesis, these include baby T-Rexes on Noah's Ark, and extremely rapid speciation or hyperevolution after Noah's flood. He's doing work with the Southern Baptist Convention, trying to make sure that they get on board. Get on board. No pun intended. The fourth purpose of the Ark Encounter is one that did bother me. I care deeply about science education. I care deeply about scientific literacy of my fellow citizens. And the fourth purpose of the Ark Encounter was to spread anti-science propaganda and conspiracy theories. On the 3rd floor of the Ark Encounter are where Ken Ham has most of his scientific claims about animals and geology and the age of the Earth and so on. In future videos, I'll show you that many of his displays were either misleading or, in some cases, blatantly incorrect. And not only that, but a lot of them were spreading conspiracy theories, really pitting the viewer against science in general. Now, there are a lot of Christians that don't have any issues with science at all. A lot of people, even the science of evolution, there are a lot of Christians that have no problem with it. There are some Christians that have an issue with evolution, but they don't really have an issue with other branches of science. But Ken Ham really seemed to be anti-science in general. He had, particularly, there was this one part. Let me read this to you. This is from Ken Ham's Mars exhibit. In it, he talks about the discovery that Mars seems to have once had an ocean that covered part of its surface in the distant past. We, of course, no longer find liquid water on Mars. One of his plaques says, "Why do so many scientists reject a massive flood on Earth while accepting one on Mars? The truth is that the worldwide flood described in Genesis would completely undermine evolutionary beliefs about life on this planet. The rejection of the biblical flood is often due to evolutionary biases, rather than the actual evidence. In fact, it is not a stretch to think that nearly every geologist would appeal to a global flood to explain many of Earth's features if the Bible had never mentioned such an event." In this plaque, he is making a huge conspiracy theory claim. He is saying that scientists all around the world, from China to the Middle East to, Canada and the United States, everybody is teaming up to attack the Bible. scientists everywhere are teaming up to attack the Bible. First of all, that's completely not true. There are tons of scientists that are Christians. Huge numbers of scientists are Christians. But that is just a horrible, horrible thing to be claiming. He's teaching these people that scientists are against them. This is really a really destructive thing to be teaching children. Oh, the children, it's a destructive thing to be teaching anybody. It was very shocking. In a future video, I'll be going over some of the details of Ken Ham's Mars exhibit, and we'll see just exactly how accurate it is. But for now, just ask yourself this one question. What's more likely? That thousands of independent researchers have teamed up against Ken Ham's interpretation of the Bible? Or that Ken Ham may have just misinterpreted some of the data? Which of these two options seems most likely to you? Perhaps there's a third or a fourth or a fifth option that I've overlooked here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So I'm going to be doing a series of videos. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the little bell icon so that you get notified when I publish those videos. I'm going to be doing a whole series where I go through one by one these different claims that Ken Ham makes at the Ark Encounter. And I'm going to show you what the actual science tells us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing fruitful, friendly conversations in the comment section. Just to sum things up before I sign off here, today we have learned a new word, Hammonism, the version of Christianity that Ken Ham has recently put together throughout his career. And we went over what I saw to be the 4 purposes of the Ark Encounter. The last one really kind of, rubs me the wrong way. So yes, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more. Hit the little notification bell to make sure that you get a notification next time I produce a video in this series. So long for now. Stay curious.